Let me tell you something. My predictions are so smart, I need 2 monocles. That's how smart this is. In fact, I got my smart guy juice that goes directly into my eye, apparently. Hey, hi, how you doing? Eagle Falcon here, gentleman and a scholar. Ooh. So scholarly, we gotta wear 2 monocles. Anyway, EU Fanfest. EU Fanfest is actually gonna be here very, very soon. I'm actually planning on covering it, well, not live, because the keynote's happening at 3 a.m. my time, and I really don't feel like ruining my sleep schedule that badly. Plus, let's be honest, you're sleeping in that day too. So we're going to be covering that later on in the day, probably starting around 5 or 6 a.m. I already forgot what I agreed to. I have an announcement somewhere on it. Anyway, I want to get my predictions out for what we're going to expect from the FanFest, and that includes our job predictions. So let's just dive right in. Now, of course, the first thing that's going to be talked about at the keynote is going to be, well, the trailer. But then during that, they're going to show off the first of the 2 jobs. Now, we don't know which job is going to be shown first, but recent history tells us that it's going to be the tank first. And by recent history, I mean I had to go all the way back to Shadowbringers to get any kind of hint, because Dawntrail was double DPS. Endwalker did not have multiple FanFests because COVID. Shadowbringers had the Gunbreaker, then the Dancer in order of appearance in the trailer, and Stormblood also had double DPS, and then before that was Heaven's Ward, where they barely knew what they were doing. We still don't know what they were doing then. It was a weird time. But anyway, that brings us to this shirt. This shirt is the only true hint we have for what the job is. Unless I missed something somewhere, which is extremely likely, actually. I work full time. It's hard to keep tabs on this. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. Anyway, we just have this guy, good old Cape Westwind himself, that I have no prayer pronouncing his name. What is it? Retantin Arvina? But in any case, he's based on one of the old Evil East judges, which just brings me to guess, I would assume our tank is gonna end up being the judge job. Now, to be fair, all right, Yoshi P said that the 2 new jobs are not gonna be from Final Fantasy, or are not from any previous Final Fantasy. Aside from like guest characters, we never had access to any one of the Evil East judges as an actual character. And in addition, the last time that he said it's a completely original job was Viper, and Viper was heavily based on Zidane. So jobs that are just kind of a one-off of this one character, totally within bounds. Okay, so I do think the tank job is gonna be named Judge. The only hint I can go with is gonna be the double gun shields that we got. What's his name? Ritatin. I'm just gonna call him the Lad. The twin gun shields that the Lad uses right here. It's the only hint we got. If, gun to my head, I had to say what would the other option be, I actually have a different answer than most. One-handed mace and shield. Not because I have any evidence to support that, only because it's different and plausible, because no job uses a blunt weapon. I mean, other than warrior, but that's 2-handed and they still count as axes. So that's my guess for the tank. Now, the fizz range, we know next to nothing. There could be a second shirt that's a hint, but let's assume for a second that this shirt is also a hint for the fizz range, because the last shirt hint we had, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones, also turned out to be a hint for both Viper and Pictomancer. My guess, and this is not a good cook, all right? I'm just gonna admit that. This is like still liquid in the middle brownies level of not a done cook. Okay, I'm gonna see a boomerang user. That's not a standard weapon outside of Locke from FF6 and Hope from FF13. that would be a physical range weapon, and the term "guess who's back" could refer to a boomerang. That's the only guess I've got for the Fizz range, unless the gear in the back is supposed to mean like super machinist, but it seems kind of weird you'd have two machinist sort of jobs, right? It's not I admit, it's not the best cook, not in the least, but that's really the best I've got. And I'm sure when it's actually revealed, it'll be plainly obvious, but that's my guess. I do think we're going to see the tank revealed first. I do think its name is going to be Judge, and I do think they're going to use twin gun shields. That's pretty much all I've got. And I admit we don't have a whole lot of evidence to support much of anything. It's a half-baked cook, but that's my cook. Now this brings us to the rest of what has been talked about. I do think the rest of what we're going to see in the keynote, and granted this keynote is long, it is a 2 hour and 15 minute opening keynote. I want to say the rest of it is going to be focused on what the actual structure of what we're going to be seeing for gameplay wise. One of the biggest changes that's coming in Evercold, of course, is kind of the end of a lot of the dailies and weeklies. We're actually going to be seeing structured seasons now, even though before we kind of did. If you don't know, Final Fantasy XIV has always kind of operated in seasons. In the case of Dawn Trail, Season 1 was 7.0 and 7.1. Season 2 was 7.2 and 7.3. And Season 3 was 7.4 and 7.5. We're at the tail end of the last season. Each one of these seasons has had a gear reset. Each one of these seasons had 30 more eye levels added to the eye level cap. That much more power added, new crafted sets, new tome sets, new raid sets, new savage sets, etc, etc, etc. They're going to be cementing that in, and I do think kind of being more transparent about the sort of structure of seasons is going to be more about finally coming up with a solution for Tomestones. Now, my prediction, even though people are just going like, oh, they're going to get rid of Tomestones. Oh my God, I think they're going to get rid of Tomestones. I don't think they're going to. I think they're just going to be called something different. I think we're going to still keep Poetics as is. And currently, we have what I refer to as uncapped Tomestones, or right now they're referred to as Elegant Tomestones of Mathematics. And then capped Tomestones, ones that you can only get 450 of a week. And currently those are the Elegant Tomestones of Mnemonics. But every single quote unquote season TM, the previous Tomestones would become the uncapped Tomestones, and then a new Tomestone will be introduced that becomes the capped Tomestones. So for example, in 7.3, we had Tomestones of Heliometry, I think was what they were called, and Tomestones of Mathematics. Mathematics were the cap ones. Your cap Tomestones ended up becoming your uncapped, so they went down a tier in usefulness, and then Mnemonics were introduced as your new cap Tomestones. But Poetics still existed as like your Tomestone for all things lower than the level cap. And I don't see them getting rid of Poetics. I think Poetics is still just too integral a part of a lot of the previous game, and in the end all current Tomestones end up becoming Poetics anyway. But I think we're going to start seeing like a more permanent name for what I refer to as uncapped Tomestones and cap Tomestones. And they might even change the name of them. They might not actually be called Tomestones anymore, just to kind of give that breath of fresh air, but they're probably still going to function exactly like Tomestones. The biggest change, however, is going to be from the change from a daily setup to a weekly setup. Now, while the cap Tomestones only let you get 450 a week, the way you got them was with the daily roulette. And every day, let's be honest, you don't do them every single day. I don't do them every single day. There's only like maybe one or two I tackle, maybe a day, maybe every third day. There's no shame in it, trust me. It's okay, it's okay. They're going to be switching instead to a weekly system. And instead of it just being like, you know, your handful of roulette options, it's instead going to be a long list of various activities that reset every week that will go ahead and award you a certain number of points. And they showed us a battle pass sort of thing. Those points end up unlocking certain rewards of some kind. I imagine that is going to eventually be our capped tomes and uncapped tomes, and maybe some other redeemables as well. Now, the battle pass thing showed a 2-tier system. They assured us that is not what they're there for. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they showed the two things. I think what they showed us at NA was a very, 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 very early look at what they were cooking, and they were still working all the final details. I think we're going to finally get some of those details at EU Fanfest. I think we're going to learn more about the gearing. What I don't think we're going to learn a whole lot about, unfortunately, is going to be high-end gearing. They showed us on that character sheet, that section up there that was marked Savage. I think that they're going to be saving for Tokyo. In fact, they even told us they were going to save that for Tokyo back at NA. So I would not expect anything regarding high-end rewards to be shown off there. With that being said, though, I do think they really do need to cook harder for the more casual and, probably more importantly, the light core crowd. Let me explain. In Final Fantasy XIV, people try to think that there is a casual, mid-core, and hardcore crowd. There isn't. There is a casual crowd that just want to touch the game every once in a while, catch up on the story, and they're usually the ones that if your roulette run ends up going to a disaster, it's because you have a casual that is not very well experienced in the game. And that's pretty normal. That's fine. You know, they're here for a short time, but they're here for a good time. Okay, that's the casual player. They're just here to get the core bits of the story. Maybe you'll go ahead and see them in the normal raid. Maybe you'll see them in the Alliance raid, but that's about it. They're the ones that are fine gearing up in the dungeon gear. Then you have the light core people. These are the people that want to play Final Fantasy XIV on the regular, but do not want to touch in any way, shape, or form any of the challenging content. They just want to chill and vibe in the game. These are the ones that go ahead, do the MSQ. They'll go ahead and do the normal raids. They'll do the Alliance raids. They might even join up for some treasure maps. And probably the biggest thing they go ahead and do is the exploration zones. They're here for a good time, but not here for a hard time. Mid-core people are the ones that start doing the extremes. They even start doing the savages. And they're the ones that even at their high, the ones that are the best at what they do, will even tackle ultimates. The problem is that mid-core people do not have a lot of time to dedicate to the game. Yeah, they'll be on, you know, a good chunk of the week, but they work a lot. They have other things they do, but they still want to challenge themselves in Final Fantasy XIV. A hardcore crowd, they live and breathe this game. They are the ones that go ahead and tackle Savage Day 1. They are the ones that tackle the Ultimate Day 1. They are the ones that go ahead and plan everything. They are the ones that will go ahead and spend their paid time off to make sure they are there for the hardest content in the game. Dawn Trail was amazing for mid-core and hardcore players. The light core players are really, really annoyed with the game right now. And they really do want to see this breath of fresh air go ahead and bring them back and make them love the game again. That's where FF14 has been struggling the most, by far. It's that lower end light core crowd. Now, if you're hoping to go ahead and see any sort of new jobs in the evolve mode, I got bad news for you. The development panel, unfortunately, looks like it's going to be focused pretty much exclusively around sound design. This is going to be with who is Go Kinyua? Go Kinyunya? How do you pronounce that? I apologize for not how do you pronounce that? Anyway, that's gonna be with Kinuya and with Soken. So that's all about sound design, music design, that sort of thing. So I don't think we're gonna be seeing anything earth-shattering or anything at all really involving evolved characters. So not this FanFest, hopefully Tokyo, but eventually I imagine we're going to be seeing a live letter talking pretty much exclusively about that. By the way, there is going to be a live letter there. That's going to be at 9:30 Central Time. And that's going to be going until 11:30 Central Time. This is specifically to talk about, oh, excuse me. This is going to be talking about Beastmaster. In fact, they kind of tease that it's going to be exclusively about Beastmaster. I don't think it's going to be exclusively about Beastmaster, but you know, it's going to be talking a lot about it. By the way, if they're going to do this again, I swear to God, don't tease us with something and then save it for the very last patch of the entire expansion. Holy, so many people are livid about Beastmaster because it was delayed to the very, very, very end of the expansion. Just sheesh. Anyway, this is gonna be with Masaki Nakagawa, aka Mr. Ozma, who was pretty much in charge of everything Beastmaster. Now we got a little tease of what Beastmaster is capable of. I think it's gonna be much, much, much more interesting for sure. But yeah, that's about everything I got when it comes to the EU FanFest. You know, I'll be covering it next, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. That's gonna be on July 25th. I'll be covering it all morning, and yeah, I'll be having videos out to go ahead and talk about it in a summary that is hopefully coherent. I don't know if my last ones were watchable at all. I just kind of let it rip. I'm actually terrible at scripting. I just let things rip a lot. Anyway, if you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to subscribe, give a like, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.